May I begin by saying just a few words in our own 5,000-year-old language? Tá firkin áhas ar an bhéin seo agus ar mahan héine agus ar san ma bhain céile is iad san atá teasta le míle buchas as an seans bí na héir in cilúra in atmosfér mar seo le sefa bhfuil clúas cóilte buint amach age gáhfuir. May I first of all say, dear friends, and thank you, Ambassador, for your very kind introduction. It's a very great honour to be here today in Berlin in the welcoming atmosphere of the renowned Roots restaurant and wine bar. And may I thank the proprietor, Marco Muller, for not only inviting us to his wonderful restaurant, but for the effort he has made in travelling back from Tuscany specifically to host us on this special occasion. I have to say personally I have a great regard for chefs. I worked as a waiter all of my summers during my academic when I was a student, and I lived in terror of chefs. But to actually be welcomed to his establishment by twice the double Michelin star chef, and particularly may I thank him as well for introducing him to the wonderful young team in his kitchen. It is a great pleasure to have been invited, and particularly to be able to have members of your staff. And I do very much appreciate your coming back from your holidays, to come back from that other land of food, Italy, is in fact a great gesture. I think that very impressive, as you discussed with me in the kitchen in Wales, we in Ireland very much appreciate not just the great effort that has been made in achieving the reputation of Irish food, but that reputation is turned into something very practical when the achievement is celebrated and welcomed by such as yourself, by the chefs who in fact say that they are making an effort. They say they welcome the food that we produce. And I think as well, not only in the case of Ireland, but I want to pay tribute to the efforts that are being made by those who are working with food to achieve sustainability, responding to the new conditions in which we find ourselves. And I think very much keeping food sources sustainable, sourcing local and regional products that involves agriculture and farmers and stock breeders. And I think the fact that you are sourcing your beef in Ireland is part of what your achievement of sustainable menus. I'm very, very pleased, indeed, as you already heard, to somebody who comes from a region that prides itself on its food production. The Minister for Foreign Affairs, Deputy Prime Minister Simon Coveney, But I also want to say that paying tribute to different people, I want to thank the Ambassador for all the work that he has put in representing Ireland. But I want to acknowledge as well what you have just been hearing from Donald Denver, head of Bord Bia in Germany, and now also head of Bord Bia United Kingdom. Donald's team in Dusseldorf, Heather Clancy and Julia Bobinko. I thank you all as President of Ireland for the efforts you are making. I do want to say as well that I have become familiar in particular having close up with some of the work that Bord Bia does on behalf of Irish agricultural produce, building the market for Irish food and drink products across Germany. And I think that we all realise that as our nearest neighbour throws a tantrum, developing our markets alternatively in Europe will become all the more important. We're hoping, however, I should say to you, that our nearest neighbour, that the food we send to the United Kingdom is of the highest quality and it's at the high end of the market, which is probably our best protection. We very much appreciate in Ireland the fact that our international reputation for natural high quality food and drink and ingredients, and of those who have worked to gain and retain that reputation, they deserve our thanks. There's been little less than a huge transformation upwards in practically every aspect of food production and quality. I think last year, Irish food and drink were exported to over 180 countries across the world. which is the proof of the reputation. And we're pleased by the continuing growth. You have heard the figures already from Donal about that Irish food enjoys in Germany. Germany is our 5th largest market for Irish food and drink, and very particularly for our beef and dairy products. And I've had an opportunity of tasting the beef just a few months ago. Farming is an important, essential part of Irish life. And when I say farming, I mean living in the conditions that Irish rural life provides. It's with great dedication that we produce the premium products that are enjoyed by the many millions of people in those 180 countries all over the world. Germany, our agricultural sector remains strong, and the number of our farmers entering organic farming, which is getting special recognition in the German market, is increasing, reflecting the new opportunities that exist for organic farmers in Ireland. The demand for organic products is growing in both of our countries as consumers seek food that has been produced using methods that are sustainable and ethical, and that will contribute to meeting the challenge of universal food security. And this is something to which both of our publics, as consumers of food, are very anxious to contribute as Europeans. So it's critical that we continue to support our farmers. I think something very important, indeed, as Heinrich Boll wrote about all those years ago, farming as a way of life. When he was travelling between Dublin and Westport, writing about the farmers he met on the train. And in particular, those who constantly explore, we must support those in farming who are experimenting with innovative ways of producing food, using methods that respect our fragile planet and all who share in it. Since 2012, Bord Bia, along with agency and industry partners, has worked very hard to develop our Origin Green. We have spoken about this. As President, I visited with the representatives of Bord Bia to the United Kingdom and elsewhere. It is now the world's first national sustainability programme, and we're on a journey to become a world leader in sustainably produced food. And we're delighted that we can continue to foster awareness of our Origin Green programme in Germany, as the issue of sustainability, as I've said, becomes ever more important to the German consumer and indeed consumers globally. And we are proud that Origin Green programme aligns itself. And this is very important. You'll see my wife wearing the badge about the Sustainable Development Goals. Origin Green, in fact, aligns itself with 9 of the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. And being part of that programme means, for our farmers, taking active steps to improve the environmental performance of their farm and submitting to regular audits to ensure progress is being made. And more every year the numbers are increasing. For businesses, Origin Green means improving performance in areas such as sourcing, manufacturing, and accepting the principles of social responsibility. And for communities, it means that we're ensuring that our rural heritage and resources are protected and preserved for future generations. Agus mar focail scoil chun críocha gáile sin rada talarom. To move to a conclusion, may I just say, I am really pleased, and I'm just sitting in front of them there, to that Gisbert Kugler, Chief Executive Officer of Ornoa, Kerrygold, is joining us here today. Kerrygold was one of Ireland's first brands to be introduced to the German market, and we're very proud that it has become the #1 consumer product in German households today. And I think it has been a great marketing success. Those in marketing appreciate it, but we Irish appreciate it because the content of it has to do with something that was very important to us, Irish food. Kerrygold's popularity amongst German consumers has provided an important channel for other Irish companies wishing to enter the German market. Now, I know that this afternoon I have heard that Gisbert is retiring shortly, and I would like to take the opportunity of thanking him for his greatly valuable work for many years in building the Kerrygold brand throughout Germany. Tásúil am go mine to Chanavas na blianta tá ag buint Lathain. I want to wish you a very happy retirement and health and happiness in those years that will be entirely your own, and acknowledge as President of Ireland the great contribution you have made for all our benefit. And may I thank all of you here today who are gathered here, who are involved in any way in promoting and speaking of Irish produce here in Germany, and thus building on the great goodwill that exists between our two countries and on our shared aim of supporting farming and the agri-food sector as we encourage sustainable and ethical food production. And as I finish, may I say, I know that Margaret going back to Tuscany and so on. One of the things about Italy is that they have never established any distance between the importance of food and eating and the rest of their culture. It's right there at the centre. And I think this is something that's very important too, is that we, in our relationship between Ireland and Germany, an old relationship based on literature, based on so many things, on philosophy, based on different recreational, so on, see food too as important. It is part of the fullness of our experience together between Germany and Ireland, and it is a very great pleasure for that reason to have accepted the invitation of Bord Bia, and very particularly, once again, I thank Marco for bringing me through his kitchen into this restaurant where we're celebrating Irish food. Mille buikas. Thank you so much indeed. Bye-bye. Thank you.